And we begin this hour with exclusive breaking news. CNN is learning Mike Pence, the former vice president, could be taking the stand when Donald Trump goes on trial in Georgia for trying to overturn the election.
Sources say Fulton County prosecutors have officially put the former vice president on their list of witnesses who they may call to testify. Our own Zach Cohen broke this news, and he starts us off this hour. The most recent version, Zach, of the witness list is more than 150 names. But Pence could be key, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We know that the pressure campaign on and targeting Vice President Pence at the time is a key part of this broader conspiracy case prosecutors in Georgia are planning to lay out once this goes to trial. And who better to speak to that than Mike Pence himself? And by putting Mike Pence on this witness list, the most recent one was filed just a few days ago, we're told by our sources. They're preserving their right to call Mike Pence to testify during a potential trial in this case. Now, look, it remains unclear when that might happen. The judge has not set a trial date yet. And, Mike Pence, this is a little bit different than his cooperation in the federal election subversion case, where he's sat down with prosecutors and testified before a grand jury. He has not testified under oath in any capacity in the Georgia case. But take a listen to what Mike Pence said when he was asked about his willingness to testify in the federal case.
I have no plans to testify, but look, we'll always comply with the law. But look, I want to tell you, I don't know what the path of this indictment will be. There actually are profound issues around this pertaining to the First Amendment, freedom of speech.
Now, at the same time, after Trump was indicted in Georgia, though, Pence did say this. He was very strong. He said, despite what the former president and his allies have said for now more than 2.5 years and continue to insist, the Georgia election was not stolen, and I had no right to overturn the election on January 6th. So I'm sure if they do call Mike Pence to testify in a trial, they're going to want him to say something to the effect of that. But we're going to have to wait and see when and if that happens.
Zach, you mentioned the federal case. We also know that Trump's team is pushing for access to documents that are currently in the hands of the special prosecutor, Jack Smith. What's their argument for sharing them?
Yeah, there's probably the space where the fact that Pence is on this witness list becomes immediately relevant because Trump's team wants access to things like Pence's contemporary notes that we know now are in the hands of the special counsel, but don't seem to be in the possession of the district attorney's office in Georgia. So Trump's lawyer is saying, look, if Pence is a witness in this case, there's clearly a lot of overlap between the two cases, and we need to see the evidence in the hands of the special counsel in order to defend our client. The judge seemed to agree with that during the hearing last week, but we're going to have to wait and see what he rules and how they end up, facilitating the sharing of information, if they do.
Zach Cohen leading us off with the breaking news this morning. Thank you.
CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Honig back at the table with us. What's the significance of Pence in this case?
Well, Mike Pence is, I think, an obvious witness that the Fulton County DA has to call to the stand in her case because he's uniquely situated. To me, Mike Pence is one of the most pivotal and necessary witnesses here. Let's remember, he's the person who had a series of face-to-face meetings, sometimes one-on-one with Donald Trump, sometimes in smaller groups, as Trump was trying to steal this election. Pence is the one who told Trump, I don't think I have the authority to overturn this election. And ultimately, Pence is one of the victims here because Mike Pence is the person who they were chanting when they stormed the Capitol should be hung. So it doesn't surprise me at all that the DA has Mike Pence on her witness list, but still enormously significant. Let's remember, this is going to happen. In one or both of these trials, Mike Pence is going to take the stand and testify against Donald Trump.
Let's not gloss over the fact that the Zach's reporting more than 150 witnesses. This is going to be a long trial.
Yeah, it sure is. Those witness lists, important to understand, and Zach did say this, you're sort of preserving your right.
Sure.
It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to call all 150.
You think that Mike Pence is almost assured to
Absolutely. I don't see how Fani Willis does not call Mike Pence in her case.
Switching over to the Jack Smith, the federal election subversion case, their filing yesterday is fascinating to me because it expands, I think goes further than what they had said prior.
Yep.
Explain to people why.
Yeah, it does. That's exactly what it does. So prosecutors have to serve this kind of motion before any trial where they say, okay, judge, we're going to prove the indictment itself with the evidence that we refer to in the indictment. But also there's some areas that maybe are on the fringes of or even outside the indictment that we're still going to need to introduce in order to prove the intent in the indictment. For example, here, Jack Smith's team says, well, we want to introduce prior statements that he made alleging that prior elections, 2016, were stolen. We want to show stuff he did after the
statements like saying they are hostages, not
exactly.
Right?
So
I just want people to listen so they understand the context of what you're talking about.
I call them the J6 hostages, not prisoners. I call them the hostages, what's happened. And it's a shame. And, you know, they did that, and they asked me whether or not I would partake and do the beautiful words, and I said, yes, I would. And you saw the spirit. The spirit was incredible.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's a perfect example. That's a statement that Trump made recently after the allegations and the indictment. Prosecutors will argue, look, that shows his intent. That shows that he was perfectly fine with people who stormed the Capitol. He sympathized with them, may even pardon them. So I think the judge will allow that kind of evidence in. It is fair game for prosecutors to use that kind of evidence.
Let's bring back to the point Bobby was making about the scale of the witness list. And the reason why I paused is because I was thinking through the racketeering case Fani Willis is currently pursuing right now with YSL down in Atlanta, which has taken, I think it's the longest.
Ever. It is.
Ever. And not necessarily just in isolation to her case against the former president, but all the cases. We're talking about a very real re-election campaign that is underway for the current president, the former president, likely frontrunners, both. What's the timing right now?
Yeah, so there are 4 pending indictments. And if the question is, I think the question on everyone's mind is, how many of these are really going to get tried before the election?
Right.
I'm going to set the over-under here at 1.5. So I think
To completion.
Yes, to verdict. I think we are very I'll quickly run through them all. March of 2024, we have 2 cases scheduled for trial. We have the federal election subversion case in D.C., and we have the New York hush money case. I think the federal case is definitely going to go. New York has signaled that they're willing to push it off. Then you have the Mar-a-Lago case. That judge has kept the trial date for May, but I think she's likely to push that off as well. And then you have Fani Willis's case. There's just no way she gets it in time. 150 witnesses is going to take many, many months. So I think we're going to see the D.C. federal case for sure. I think the others are unlikely.
Yeah, and seating a jury for that case. Look how long it's taken her in this RICO case.
exactly.
Ellie, thank you very much.